This week on Live Bait, we'll visit an old-fashioned bait shop. It's kind of like a museum of where our grandparents got their bait and tackle.
It's fun finding it, and then it's fun displaying it.
Our first fish segment features a young man who traveled across 5 states to catch his first fish, and it was worth the trip. Oh, look at there, you got one! And we'll show you how the live bait gets certified and tell you why it's essential. Welcome to this episode of Live Bait. Jim, I feel like I'm in a museum honoring everything that we love.
Right on top like that. And there's our Palomar knot.
I do not want to let that one go.
Healthy, hardy, and safe, certified Arkansas bait fish.
Last week we started off the show with a good old-fashioned kids fishing derby. It was on a pond owned by Jim Malone, who's one of the certified Arkansas bait fish farmers. Jim loves sharing the sport with the next generation. Jim knows his fish and he knows this industry, partly because he's connected to its past. Jim, I feel like I'm in a museum honoring everything that we love. This is amazing what we've got. We're going back in time, and the history and the heritage of the sport of fishing is captured in this spot. This has to be a labor of love for you.
It definitely is. We enjoy fishing, and we want people to see where fishing came from and bring it up to where it is now. And you've got to start with the old stuff first.
Yeah.
And it's fun finding it, and then it's fun displaying it.
Some meaningful stuff back here. When you walk in here, and obviously you get to see this every day, but what jumps out at you as something that's particularly special? What kinds of things capture your eye?
Well, the one thing back over here is my grandfather's seat, the one and only he used fishing. His gun case that I have hanging on the wall over there, and his fishing vest. Those are 2 or 3 things that jump out immediately. And then some of the other things we've got over here are his tackle box that's under the Bobcat that had all of his lures and stuff in it that I used for years.
This is a place to come and kind of get a feel for the majesty and the history of this, that it's evolved, and your business has had to evolve as well.
Oh, yes.
I mean, over time, you've gone from one type of species to another. You had to weather floods, all kinds of things that any farmer is going to have to deal with, but especially in a specialized industry like yours, you've really had to adjust over time.
You know, we started out basically clearing 180 acres in a swamp way before I was born. And it was going to be a fee fishing lake. And then we decided to go in the rice business, and the government put an allotment on us, so that threw that out. Moss took over the fee fishing lake, which that's ironic and iconic a little later in our life. And so Andy Anderson had started raising bait a few years before. And he relayed to my daddy what he was getting a return on. So we took that 180 acres, cut it up in the ponds, and started raising bait. And we started developing outlets in different states, our own distribution channels, just like the other bait dealers that were doing at the time, until we got an accidental drift of cotton poison that took our crop away from us. And we had to get out of the fish business for about 4 or 5 years to let that chemical leach out of the soil so we could raise a crop of fish. By that time, we had lost our outlets. So my wife and I in 1985 opened up Malone's Catfish Fingerling Company to raise catfish fingerlings for the food fish industry and for individual stocking. And then it just kind of blew open into the sport fish.
Wow.
And once we cracked the nut on spawning and raising largemouth bass on feed and raising the hybrid crappie, we're the only people in the state of Arkansas and probably in the country that's raising the hybrid crappie. And the new hybrid we developed, Southern Speckled Belly, which we trademarked that name, we've got a full spectrum. We're Walmart. Come get it if you need it.
We will feature a lot of your photos throughout this season. Send them in to fishphotos@livebaittv.com. A lot of people don't realize there's a right way and a wrong way to stock your ponds. J.M. Malone & Sons knows the right way. J.M. Malone & Son is different from most of the fish farmers featured in this show. They focus primarily on stocking your ponds with the right fish to get the results you want.
When stocking a new pond, the first thing you have to decide is, what do you want to fish for? And you basically have a few choices. You've got catfish, which is great if you like catfish, but you can't raise a lot of big bass in a catfish pond. So your second choice is your typical bass bluegill pond, where you're going to get catchable bluegill and catchable bass. Doesn't go well for catfish. Your third option, of course, is trophy bass. And this is where we crowd the bluegill, give the bass all the room in the world, and you effectively get 8-pound bass and maybe some subpar bluegill, but you are after the 8-pound bass anyway. So on day one, before you stock your pond, really think about what you want to catch, because that's going to determine exactly what you put in it and what proportion of each kind of fish you put to each other in that pond. If you change the ratio of bass to bluegill, you either get big bluegill or big bass. So on day one, you need to set your recipe for success based on how many fish you stock in what ratio. If you were to catch the trophy bass of all trophy bass out in the wild, your local river or lake, I urge you not to bring it back to your personal pond. Ponds are very small environments. Like I said before, you have to establish the right ratio of predator and prey. If you had a new pond and you caught that trophy bass of a lifetime and put him in your new pond, you would never be able to establish the forage to feed him. He would probably starve to death. Or you would go bankrupt trying to establish the forage base to feed him. When you stock a pond, it's important to start with the forage fish first, minnows and bluegill, typically in the fall, and then you come back in June and stock your bass. That way your forage base, like a pyramid, has had time to expand. To support that bass is going to be at the top of that food pyramid. Also, taking bass from the wild can introduce diseases you don't want. There are many parasites that utilize birds and snails and fish all as hosts. They're called grubs. And if you ever cut open a fillet of a crappie or bass and you got black specks or white specks or little red worms, that's because of a grub that came from a bird or a snail. And the surest way to get one in your pond is to go catch one out of the wild and put them in your pond.
As you just heard, the right way and the wrong way is the difference between that dream pond or an expensive frustration. J.M. Malone & Son is a national leader in this part of fish farming. Exhibit A is the Southern Specklebelly Brim.
So here we have a Southern Specklebelly Brim. This is a new fish raised by Malone's, exclusive to Malone's. Very exciting new hybrid. 99% plus males. They grow very fast, they get very big, very easy to catch. So the current hybrid bluegill that you can buy at most places to stock your pond, it's a good fish, but it uses a green sunfish as a parent, and you get 85% males. So while you can raise big fish, eventually you're going to have some reproduction, and eventually you have to drain your pond and start over. So we were looking for something a little more longer term. So if your goal is to raise big brim, it's all about numbers of fish in your pond. If you were to put in 100 regular bluegill that were 50-50 male and female, they're going to reproduce and you're going to have hundreds of thousands of babies. That's hundreds of thousands of mouths competing with those 100 fish you put in there that you wanted to get big. We're talking about 99% males. For every 100 you put in, you might get 1 or 2 offspring. So that's that much more food available for that 100 fish that you put in that you want to grow big. When it comes to pond stocking, it's about space, time, and food.
Along with the Southern Specklebelly, the folks at Malone's grow a lot of popular species, including catfish, hybrid crappie, and of course the largemouth bass. It starts in the hatchery, matures in the ponds, and ends up in trucks headed all over America. If you would like customized advice for your pond, check them out at jmmaloneandson.com. We will feature a lot of your photos throughout this season. Send them in to fishphotos@livebaittv.com. We talk a lot about certified Arkansas bait fish, and that certification is important. When you use wild-caught bait, you're doing a few things and none of them are good. First off, if there's disease in the lake from where that wild-caught bait came, now you transport that disease into the body of water you like to fish. You can also transfer invasive species, and you're destroying the forage in the first lake. So the certification process eliminates all of those problems. And you say, how does a fish get certified? Well, I'm glad you asked. To answer that question, we have to go to the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. This is where a team of scientists take samples from every farm to make sure safe bait stays safe. Meet Dr. Nylema. How many fish come through here when it's testing season?
So it depends on 10,000 to 12,000 fish
Wow.
per season. So we do all kinds of different bait fish species, and we follow according to their regulations or where they are shipping their fish. So every state, whatever they are shipping their fish, we follow those regulations and then we test accordingly.
All right, so what do we do next with these guys?
So now they are sleeping. So we will take them to another lab and add some 70% alcohol to it so that they will be clean from outside and we can do their bacterial checking over there.
These scientists are looking for both bacteria and viruses. Yes, we use the word virus. The fish don't have COVID, but the same PCR test used to find COVID in humans will also find bad viruses in fish.
It's the same type of test, exact same type of test. Yeah, you can look for all kinds of viruses that way.
The kidneys and the spleen provide the best target-rich environments for the testing.
I'm going to collect kidney and just get a little bit of that to right there. And then the spleen is the hard part, can be. Different fish, it likes to hide. It's always near the intestines. And then we'll do this 4 more times and then collect that in our little collection bags. Then they're mixed with a buffer and homogenized, basically making a puree around, and then that is taken up to our virology department for PCR testing for viruses.
Gerald Dizelle works with all sizes of animals, and this is one of the smaller ones. And these fish are smaller animals than what you're used to dealing with.
Very much so.
What other animals do you deal with besides this?
Oh gosh, well just for example, we have a cow.
Okay.
So I'm necropsy right now. Kidney is pretty easy to find here.
I'm guessing the kidney on a cow is a little bit bigger.
Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe it. Yes, sir.
Next stop is the virology department.
And essentially what we're wanting to do is develop all these chemical components together to eventually put into a machine that replicates that pathogen to a detectable level. And then from there we can put it into our thermocyclers after creating this master mix that will allow us to amplify that particular pathogen if it's in the sample. And if it's not in the sample, then it's non-detected and the customers are happy, we're happy.
Everything's good to go.
Yep.
Okay, so if it all comes back clean, we're in good shape.
We're in good shape. That's what we want to see.
No cells are dead, then we know we've got it good. But if we've got a problem, then what happens?
If we've got a problem, then that's when we take it a step further and we do PCR testing.
Okay.
And see what we've got there and you know, is it truly a virus or was there just something else that contaminated the sample?
A lot of your viewers probably have some favorite fishing holes, maybe even some secret ones, and nobody wants the disease or the parasite getting into their body of water, especially when it could be prevented by this program, which is voluntary, that the bait fish producers here in Arkansas participate in.
And that is how it all happens. You've seen how the fish are grown, and now you know all the science and scientists behind what makes it healthy, hardy, and safe. And this is why you need to ask for certified Arkansas bait fish wherever you buy bait. Your Game and Fish Commission is a great resource for tips and techniques to catch more fish. Here's a great way to demonstrate 2 of the most common knots.
Hi guys, Mark Dyer with Arkansas Game and Fish Commission Aquatic Resource Education Program. I am an educational program technician there, and today I'm here to talk to you about a few knots we're going to use in our live bait fishing. The first knot that we're going to start with is called a Palomar knot. We're going to pass through the eye of the hook, and then we're going to take our line, go back over itself, go back through the eye of the hook. So we've kind of got it where the rope is or the line would be on a bite. So then we're just going to tie a simple overhand knot. Hope I've got enough rope here so we can pass our tiny little hook that we have through our knot. Guys, I don't really fish with this thing, but it's great for illustrating knots. So we're going to take it, and that's going to cinch down. Now, one of the things when you're fishing with your line, be very careful that we don't get our line in a bind right here in this portion of the hook, because it can cut your line if you have a hook that the gap's not closed very well on. We just want to make sure that that continues to cinch down and ends up right on top like that. And there's our Palomar knot. This knot will be probably one of the most common knots in fishing. That's why they call it the fisherman's knot. The other name for this would be the improved clinch knot. So again, we'll start by passing our line through the eye. Then we want to take our tag in and begin to wrap about 5 wraps. All right, so once we have our 5 wraps, we go back through the eye that we created, and here we'll gradually, this rope's a little bit more difficult, but gradually we'll loop down, and that is our finished improved clinch knot.
When Live Bait returns, we'll take you on a multi-state journey for a first fish. And the journey was successful, and it tasted great. We will feature a lot of your photos throughout this season. Send them in to fishphotos@livebaittv.com. All right, guys, this is one of my favorite segments in the show. It's called First Fish. I've got Peter Snow, who is ready to catch his first fish, and we were all right here ready to go. The wind shifted, a storm has blown over the mountains, and now we have got to adjust. So we're gonna call an audible. We're gonna go somewhere else because we've got a storm coming, and we have learned wherever there is lightning,
There's no fishing.
no fishing. All right, we're gonna go to Plan B right now.
So Plan B was a significant alteration. Young Peter Snow traveled from Utah all the way to Arkansas, across 5 states. And today, no storm was going to chase us away from our quest.
You've been waiting for this for a long time.
Oh yeah.
I understand you've been reading up and practicing casting.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But we still have yet to get that first fish.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it on camera today.
Cool.
Okay. We got a little spinning rod set up right here.
Sweet.
Already got him rigged up here, about 2 feet below the bobber. And then we got a double split shot almost halfway through there to kind of, you want that weight, see how the weight kind of pulls it down? You want that minnow to be down below the surface of the water. Sometimes if you don't put the split shot, then he'll end up just floating up to the top of the surface. We want to get him down there where the beasts are.
Cool.
Okay? All right, so we're gonna rig him up with a minnow right now. And Peter's gonna rig him right up there, just right there by the mouth. Just like
That's
so.
good.
Yeah, we've been in the current for a little while, so this is one of those things where you gotta let the fish tell you what to do. You come in with a game plan, what you think's gonna catch a fish, and if it doesn't, then you start making adjustments. All right, let's reel it in. Let's put a fresh minnow on. And we're gonna work down this bank right here. Let's recast,
Yeah,
pick it up
I was
and
gonna say,
see if we can get it just on the other side of where that log, in between the log and the bank.
Oh, whoa. That's a
He's
lot of-
good. Oh, look at there, you got one. All
my
right,
gosh.
good deal, reel it in, look at that.
Whoa. Oh, no. No.
We've been thinking we needed to go about 2 feet deep. but that was with the anticipation that we were going to be fishing in about 4 feet. What we're finding is most of the activity is along the shoreline where it's about 2 feet deep. So we're going to adjust this bobber and bring it down so that it is now closer to about a 2-foot depth. Oh, there we go. Set that hook. All right, reel it in. Reel, reel, reel. Keep reeling, keep reeling. Oh, did he pop off?
The next adjustment was minnow size. We downgraded to a smaller minnow, and once again, the boat was filled with optimism.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
Him
man.
coming towards you. Oh, that's good. Okay, sit, pull it up, pull it up. There we go, there we go. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
You got yourself a crappie. That is a crappie. Good deal.
Oh.
Okay, so you got to hold it. So hold it up for the camera. All right, so just pinch it hard because he's
Okay.
gonna flop, but
Mhm.
nothing sharp here, so you'll be fine. Just grab it. There you go. There we go. Yeah.
Success! Welcome to the club, Peter.
My first one. If we're allowed to, I think we should eat it.
You think we should eat it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay, I have a feeling that's gonna be for dinner tonight. All right, put you another minnow on and let's catch another one.
Oh, yeah.
You're an angler now.
Oh, yeah.
In no time, the pattern proved itself to the young angler.
No, your minnow's moving. That's good. Okay, go, reel it. Pick it up and reel. Ah, yeah, reel, reel, reel. What do we got here?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. All right. 2 crappie.
2. There we go.
There you go.
2. That was nice.
And why stop now?
Pull up hard like you're, yep. You got another fish. Yes.
Oh, geez, this one's fighting. This one's really fighting.
Yeah.
Is that another crappie?
Yeah, another crappie. Yep. There you go. That
That's
is
number
crappie
3.
number 3.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, the main course just got bigger.
Indeed it did. Peter Snow, you caught your first fish, and your 5-state journey earned a great southern feast. Crappie along with fried okra.
Over 7 million new anglers joined the sport last year, and we welcome you to this sport and the thrills of catching a fish, and also to a wonderful lifestyle that we think is great. This week we met another one of the founding families of fish farming. You saw a great first fish from Peter Snow. We saw how certified Arkansas bait fish earned its name and why you should ask for it at your bait shop. Next week we'll bring you more of what we love. Thank you for watching Live Bait.